It's Mazzy, and I want to talk about the best jazz record ever in the history of the universe, ever released from 1958, and that is Cannonball Adderley's Something Else on Blue Note Records, number 1595. Now, of course, I or anyone else can't say that one record is better than another record, or this is the very best jazz record, or that's the very best rock and roll record. But this is the very best jazz record of all time, and Revolver's the very best rock and roll record of all time. I kid. But let me talk about this because I want to talk about the new Mobile Fidelity one-step Ultra Disc processed by Mobile Fidelity Lab, double 45 RPM. And this just came out. This is on Super Vinyl. And I ordered this only because it's my favorite jazz record of all time. I want to compare it to my Music Matters Jazz SRX that came out. This version came out 3 years ago on the SRX Quiet formula. And I did compare it, I don't have it right here, but I did compare it to the Classic, the Blue Note Classic that just came out in the last year or so. And I would say if you are one of those people that are tired of these overproduced, massive boxed, audiophile, double 45, expensive records, stop right now and go buy that Classic record. You can get it for $25 to $30, but get that one, the Kevin Gray cut, because it's really good. And depending on your system, your taste, your rig, in most cases, it won't matter. You don't need these versions, but I want to showcase these versions because, again, it's the best jazz record ever made, or at least it's my favorite jazz record ever made. And I do want to talk about this. I will compare it to this because I did play it. I will say both exceed my expectations, and both, for me, on my rig in my room, knowing this record really well, I do like them better than the Classic, although the Classics are no slouch, and they're really, really good. So sometimes, do you need that extra oomph? Do you need that extra soundstage? Most people don't. Now, before I go on, 1958 this came out. Miles Davis is a member of it. There used to be some talk that actually this was a Miles Davis-led session, but he was hooked up and contracted to Columbia Records. Now, this came out in 1958. 1957, Milestone came out, and this also has Cannonball Adderley. He was a member of Miles' band when he recorded Something Else, and Miles came over and worked on it. Of course, this was the album with the quintet at the time, with Cannonball Adderley, Red Garland, John Coltrane, Paul Chambers, and Philly Joe Jones. After this, I believe Miles put out, I'm blanking out the record, Porgy and Bess maybe, but in 1959 he also put out what other people consider the best jazz album ever made, and this is Kinda Blue. Now, this is the UHQR Analog Production One Step. This is the 33 and a third that has the beautiful Stoughton jacket. This sounds excellent. I don't have the double 45. They put that out. You can go crazy trying to keep up with all these different things. But I do want to say something. Obviously, what surprised me, and pleasantly surprised me this time, and I saw it happen even though I didn't get it with the Michael Jackson one step. That was a single 33. Mobile Fidelity now has a very slender box, very modern, very on brand, but classic and beautiful. And it's still a box. It's a slipcase actually this time. And I'll get into that in a minute. Now, we know about the UHQR boxes. Let's just compare them. And this is actually a 33, but I believe the 45 Miles Davis Kinda Blue also comes in a same slipcase, same box, slide out box. Some like it. Looks like something that you would have found in your grandmother's attic in 1958 when this came out, possibly, or 1948. No, it wouldn't have been 48. But I will say, and I'm going to give them both like a little demerit too. The only reason that both come up with these premium, in their so-called premium, self-described premium packages is to justify the price. Now, you can do a beautiful record, we found out, 33 and a third, double 45 for $60. Maybe it's not a one step. Well, it's definitely not a one step, but they sound excellent. Atlantic, and they also do it. You know, the Analog Productions Atlantic series, and we know Analog Productions has done the double 45 Doors albums and so on and on and on, you know, for different reasons. But they both have problems with their packaging. So there's a little bit of this. When you get into the Stoughton jacket, these are wonderful. And this sounds amazing. This is like the premium thing that makes it premium, makes it extra premium. Now, MoFi, you know, there's blame to go all around too, but let me kind of show you this. So MoFi is always, I only have one other Ultra, or one other one step, the Blood, Sweat, and Tears. But what I dislike, I mean, it's an interesting choice, and I think personally it's the wrong choice, but who am I? I don't work for Mobile Fidelity. They have their separate sleeves, and they made a small inset of the cover art. So you don't get the full cover art. These are the two individually packaged records. You get a separate, suitable for framing cover slick. Now, why bother? Why don't you just why don't you just do that, right? Just glue it on or whatever, you know, print it on. But this adds to their premium. That's their problem with their premium package. And then you have the diagram. The diagram that at one period of time, a couple years ago, got them in trouble because of the DSD step that was ignored from it. But having said that, the one steps as the UHQR, you're basically doing lacquer to stamper to vinyl. You're cutting out, I believe, the traditional three-step process. Look for that elsewhere. I'm not going to tell you about the scientific, voodoo stuff that makes this one less step to make it, in theory, sound better. The Mobile Fidelity has another cardboard insert that protects the record. Okay, now on to the music and the sound and the comparison between the Music Matters Jazz and the Ultra Disc One Step. Now, I have to say up front that I'm a huge fan of almost all of the Mobile Fidelity Miles Davis releases. In fact, I think they all exceed the originals. I love them all. I think Kinda Blue is the only one that they failed on. It's too boomy. And of course, that Analog Production UHQR is wonderful. I have the 33 and it's wonderful. But these two, I played the Mobile Fidelity straight through twice, double 45. So is it a fair fight? I'm not fighting. We're playing comparison here. The 45 versus a 33. Right off, I tell you, I found this very engaging. Now, I hadn't heard this in probably 2 months, and I did play it afterwards, after I played this twice. This is very engaging. One thing I noticed right off is the bass, not heavy, but very pronounced with the drums on the right channel. And it had a very organic, how strange is that? With a DSD step, something sounding so organic. It had a beautiful, natural sound. I was very surprised. There's no so-called digital artifact, all those people out there that says, I knew there was something wrong, I heard something, but maybe that was just the mastering you didn't like. I don't know. Krieg Wunderlich did the mastering on this. On the Music Matters Jazz several years ago, Kevin Gray cut these. They're very close, but again, I found the Music Matters Jazz a little brighter, not in a bad way. Obviously, all this is system dependent. All this really depends on your taste and your room. I have a somewhat bright room, of course. Those of you who watch me know that already. I don't have really room treatment except for the couch and carpets and faux cowhide rugs strewn about. But the 45, now it could have been because of the 45, the nature of the 45. Side one, Autumn Leaves takes up the entire side, so there's a lot of room, a lot of space. It was so engaging and it was so beautiful. After I listened to this one, it sounded really good, but it did sound slightly different. It wasn't quite as warm, but it was still excellent. It did beat the Blue Note Classic. Both these surpassed it in my room for my taste, and I know these records really well. It goes on, Love for Sale, again, another classic, and then it gets into something else, and One for Daddy-O, which kicks it up a notch and really gets some great interchange between Miles Davis trumpet and, of course, the alto sax of Cannonball Adderley. But the drumming is tight, the bass. I think for me, the differences mostly were in the bass and the drum, the percussion on this, and the cymbals. Some people feel that Miles' trumpet playing when he's muted has a little bit of a harsh sound. I didn't feel that on either of these. But again, the MoFi might be slightly warmer, but not muffled, not at all. I could go in either way depending on the mood I'm in. I think right now, and maybe because it's new and it's a novelty, I slightly prefer the MOA Fidelity. It's a fantastic job they did on this. It'd be interesting to hear this on double 45. I don't have Analog Productions did a double 45 of this all analog, and that would be the real shootout for someone to do the all analog double 45. Maybe it's already done. I should seek it out and put it in the comments if someone else has compared the Analog Productions double 45 all analog to the one with a DSD cut. DSD doesn't necessarily mean worse. They had more time to play with it, to go back and forth, unlimited cuts, unlimited test pressings, it seems. They could do a lot more than going and rewinding and redoing the tape quite a bit. But ultimately, for a listener, that doesn't matter. They're not following that stuff. So to me, I just wanted to showcase my all-time favorite jazz album, Something Else, Cannonball Adderley, a jazz record that's very accessible. If you're the kind of person that jumped in on Kinda Blue, which is a wonderful record, I'm not going to take anything away. And of course, I love Bill Evans on this. I love the whole band on this. I mean, come on, how can you not, right? Wynton Kelly, Bill Evans, John Coltrane, James Cobb, Paul Chambers, Cannonball Adderley. What a band on this. But this 3 years, man, being in the studio in 57, 58, and 59 with this great jazz, this hard bop jazz with these beautiful melodies coming out and the beautiful standards coming out. If anyone cares, this is an edition of 6,000, so there's no rush to buy it. But if you're looking for a gift, for a jazz lover, this would be a beautiful version. Again, depending on their system. Mine's number 4627. People seem to want to know that. I don't think it really matters. It doesn't matter. Ultradisc, MoFi, Music Matters Jazz. I mean, this is the cover. So you want this, you want this, you want a little bit of this. Someone's going to perfect it one of these days. I think Joe Harley did with Tone Poets, right? Anyway, thanks for watching. And come on, Tone Poet, let's do this one. Mazzy loves you.